我叫奴，我烦，我叫奴，我就很烦奴啊。哇，那我跟他
It feels good to be this good. It feels good to be this good.
Don't you sass me. Don't you sass
不要
me.
凶嘛，
Older
不
than
是
this
故
as a
意的。
baby.
Я все видела, это он виноват.
Самая тупая смерть в жизни просто.
In the lower bracket. We heard it there, Fogged. You know, Boba very happy that they're able to get the Broodmother and be able to build a draft around that. Would you also agree there's reason to be confident in getting that through in the way they've closed it up at 3G? Or do you feel the Beast Coast will have the means to deal with the Spider?
Does look like they have a lot of answers because they've seen it so many times. We've seen them play it, I think, 5 times. They did drop one game, I believe, versus Liquid when they had the Brood, but they do have so many answers. It seems like every single one of their heroes is to respond to that and also to respond versus the Wraith Pack build that we've seen pretty much every game. They have the Snapfire. Of course, you have that little Shredder to kill it off, so it does look like they answered it pretty nicely, but let's see what's going to happen with that last pick Terrorblade.
Well, let's get ourselves into the action. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1 of Evil Geniuses versus Beast Coast. And in terms of the way that they ended the draft, Fog closing up with the Terrorblade, what does that sort of say about EG's strategy overall in terms of the timings and strength they're going to look to play towards against Beast Coast?
Just doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get enough distractions on the game because he has this Brood, he has this Hoodwink, he has this Ember that's going to be causing problems across on the other side of the map. So maybe it feels like he can get all the space in the world as this Terrorblade to be able to get this scaling. But looking at the draft, of course, from Beast Coast, they have a lot of answers, of course, too, for TV.
No,
Mars has traditionally been seen as one of those heroes, even though it's gotten nerfed a lot of times, has done well versus TB, and they have a plethora of burst damage and nuke that we saw work pretty well versus these pretty squishy agi cores a lot of times.
On the side of Beast Coast, obviously, finishing with that Slark pick here for Hector.
Самая тупая смерть в жизни просто. Самая
Again, anything here as both teams.
Look how much information they're giving. Just because that Slark standing on the high ground, that night vision, can see so much, they can actually sneak into this enemy jungle nicely.
And indeed, it's able to pick up the ward there, Gojira. See the stun here around the mid. K1 don't want to stand around too much.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen, actually. At least not in a TI. They get their mid ward just walked up and snatched because of that night vision.
Yeah. Well.
So, all right, that's going to be pretty cool to set up. And
they'll be happy with that one, Beast Coast.
And look at this approach. The start of the lane right away, they're going to actually put the pressure onto the TB. I think they look at this lane and they're like, this is a lane the TB can definitely get punished. This Mars, this Snapfire, they could definitely shut this down since there's just a Sven behind him. All right, let's see how it plays out. Yeah, I can't believe that happened.
See if it has any sort of implications on where they're able to set up this early vision and indeed the lack of it that EG might have for these first few minutes around certain areas.
This is that melee versus melee matchup, so sometimes, it can be like a range versus range where you want that high ground ward to be able to play with them to pull creep aggro and stuff like that. So it's not the, of course it sucks to lose your ward, but could be worse if it was him like on a range or something like that. Disadvantageous matchup.
So the way that this lane starts down bottom, so which core is going to be happier at the beginning out of K1 and Nightfall down here?
It's pretty tough to bully out Brood nowadays. With the new way that the web works, you don't really get slow ever. You have so much health regen. When you get that second point in web, even if you drop low on HP, you're pretty speedy. And you'll be able to get that, of course, that HP regen that builds. And so I don't think Nightfall should be too worried. He also has crit always behind him, so I would say if anyone has to worry, it's Stinger more than anything in this lane.
For sure, yeah, has to be careful how far he steps up, especially once the level 2s are there. Crit could look for a quick setup and have that damage.
It's just a lot of harassment that comes out with the Blightstone and then the spam that's going to be coming out from the Silken Bola. We'll see which choice actually Nightfall does go for, because also you can actually go for either. Any of these builds could go for just 1-2-1 or something like that, so we can trade with Hector. Or K1, we should say, of course.
Of course, on this top lane then for Arteezy trying to lane against the Snap Mars duo that Beast Coast are putting against him. Is he going to be fine up here, or is there potential for kills to be found by Beast Coast?
I mean, from what we've seen, these Svens are able to secure lanes pretty nicely, but looks like they might
Good
find
setup
Fly.
here, they will indeed. First blood for Beast Coast. Nice little combo there. Of course, between these two heroes, Snap and Mars, they'll be able to pull off much more of that to come here in the laning stage.
And they can do that to RTZ pretty much any time too, so he always has to be careful. It's a death that's kind of needed in a way. Like it's gonna happen there for the Sven, and it's better that he dies than the TB dies to this big burst damage that comes out from these two. But they're gonna keep going for that. They're gonna always go for these double nuke plays onto either TB or Sven if they're out of position.
Of course, whilst the meta's unavailable, very hard for EG to get aggressive in return.
But so far, he's farming very well, right? 13 and 3, even though he did lose his Sven.
Things slowed down so far.
None of the cores really. Mid lane also, CC Smile versus Abed. Pretty much dead even. And bottom, Hector, a little bit behind, but it's a tough lane in a way versus these two.
I feel sort of across the map, he's the one that's going to have a bit of a trickier time when it comes to getting up to the CS.
Honestly, it feels like both of the carries might start to be in some troublesome positions, right? Like RTZ does feel like once these nukes start leveling up even more, will be problematic for him, but they do actually get a stacked pull-off. That's pretty rare. So they're going to lose a whole wave on Beast Coast.
Are fortified.
See what Gojira can try and do about this. There's a chance to maybe look for a kill between the two of them here, Whisper and Gojira. There's a setup onto Fly, but quick with the Mango and the stun, make sure the Whisper doesn't get the chance to line up any follow-up.
That hurts though. They lost literally the entire wave there to that double pull, and RTZ's able to free farm under the tower, so really good play from Fly. Bottom, yeah, just constantly seeing them spamming these spells back onto each other. All the trees being cut on the side there, you see K1 constantly Quelling Blading. Always going to be watching for those Quelling Blade plays, of course, also versus the Hoodwink to cut down that Acorn shot.
The top. Once the meta's up, it's definitely a bit trickier for Beast Coast to try and make that play between these two.
They still do have a lot of burst, right? If they can get the chain stun, even RTZ could go down.
Absolutely, yeah. If they can land sort of the lineup to get that good angle with the spear. Most certainly death for one of EG's members on that top lane.
They are hanging on to a lot of stick charges up here too. 5 on Gojira and also 9 on Whisper. Lingering pretty low on HP.
Opposed to taking the occasional bounty.
Down bottom, K1 able to rely on Stinger to continue to bring in the regen whilst working his way towards that 6. Instead of Tangos here, picked up again. See they get the angle. Looking to follow up. It's another kill. East Coast combo here, proving to be very strong. And as best as EG are trying to avoid getting caught in these situations, flying RTZ, East Coast is still able to find these opportunities.
Yeah, it's pretty unavoidable. Like they have the CM aura, so they're always able to spam their spells up here too. And they might even go for RTZ top. They do
He's on his own now. Underneath the tower. See if they can do this here, but Fly back in action and TP at the ready. He'll manage to turn up and make sure that the dive cannot continue, but really feel it already. Beast Coast finding these great chances to just get under that tower and aggressive. Right, he as well, under to Whisper to close the gap, but the stick charges keep Fly fine. Beast Coast will have to reset a little bit. They're starting to fall low on the two of them.
But the rotation's coming in. Look how low these heroes on our EG are.
I mean, yeah, Fly and RTZ, you have to be careful.
Under attack.
Here we go, Chris. He's looking for Fly.
You saw him?
Be able to catch him with the avalanche. He can. Fly's not going to be able to run away from this one. He'll put the war cry, but a final blast from Kajira. It gets another. I mean, in the rune, he's going to be able to. Oh, he's in and he's out. Abed will manage to still pick that up before Chris swings back towards the mid.
That would have been some pretty fortunate scenarios coming in. Of course, Rune spawning top right when he's rotating. Does get the catapult last hit on Chris Luck. Good start for him. Level 6 early on. Quick, easy rotation. Doesn't find the Terrorblade, but again, finding the early kills. 3-0 ready for Beast Coast. And the bottom lane, they actually haven't died. They'd weathered everything. And as you mentioned, your Slark, sure, he's a bit behind the counterpart. 400 behind the TB, 800 actually behind the Brood, but they haven't died down here, which is pretty important.
This was going to be the toughest part of the map for Beast Coast in this laning stage, no doubt about it. So they're dealing very well with the pressure and the setup that EG set up against them. Now this thing from Gojira, they might find a chance to make a kill onto Nightfall. And with the pounce, the blast to follow up into the cookie, and the spider's gone. Beast Coast Coast, they are doing an excellent read of where they can make these plays in this laning stage here. They're not letting a kill miss them at all here. 4-0 now.
It's similar to the way that we saw Thunder, the approach that they took versus EG, just this constant aggression. Really nice moves coming after them, and now K1, soon to be getting level 6, so should be able to withstand down bottom on his own. Yeah, really smart moves. And we see a pretty clever ward, of course, too, from Gojira. Actually places it in the river down bottom after he makes the rotations. So gonna spot any rotations that Crit makes as well.
Тупая смерть в жизни просто.
Maybe guarantees that 8-minute power rune for Chris Luck if they do linger in the area.
Definitely want to keep control of that power in for sure.
They're actually going for the play here on mid.
Get the toss back. Key as well to follow things up.
They might be, ooh, so close. Almost gets the frostbite onto Abed.
Same time up top. CEG now make a move on towards Mars. Look to threaten Whisper. He'll be able to spear back RTZ, but flying Crit able to finish him off as EG finally get themselves a kill on the board.
Yeah, lane's starting to break pretty early on here. And Brune will spawn, and yep, Gojira, since he's staying in that area, will secure it with the 3 heroes. That's K1 in a 1v1 versus the Brood. Much better for him.
He's happy now. Yeah, he's hit the 6. So when it's Nightfall alone down here, K1, very little to be concerned about.
Yep.
Should be able to start closing that gap in the farm.
And we do see Nightfall, most of the games he's gone for that Wraith Pack, but I think he's starting to realize, you know, they have the Snap who's gone for the early points in the Little Shredder too. He can actually go Wraith Pack first item, so gonna go for the pipe. Also the item that, you know, all these Broods do go is at the first, second item.
Yeah.
A lot of magic damage, so.
Absolutely, yeah, he needs it to be able to protect his army this game.
Exact, and to protect the TB if he does show up early. There's so much magic burst that's on Beast Coast, so we like that. Seeing Abed kind of cutting mid lane as well, and they are looking to make rotations too. So trying to divert all that attention off of the top lane.
Want to go for Nightfall. Nightfall, he's playing very cautious under the tower. Same time around the mid, they'll look to dive in for Chris. Chris able to get the free-man avalanche off. Time's being bought for the backup TPs to come in. The Stinger turns up. And EG, they won't be able to continue the aggression onto Chris. He'll be fine.
He's very tanky.
Still adds, you know, it's pretty much a full stick there, 10 charges and a fairy fire, so really a kill that EG was going to be able to get, even with the 3 of them turning up.
A scary place to overcommit to. I think they knew that the Mars wasn't going to be able to come in, but the 2 supports could be around there just to back him up right away. And now K1, yeah, you know, level 6 is online, treads are done, he's just going to get to the jungle a little bit here. Another move for mid. Not going to be able to get Gojira, though. Although, 4-1, EG still leading in the net worth.
Yeah, farm's still good.
The 3 cores still looking very good with their presence. And Nightfall, now the pressure is going to start on the bottom lane. So let's see what Beast Coast does to react versus this Spider. As we mentioned earlier, their draft does have a ton of ways to clear them out.
They'll try for the catch onto K1. Will scare him enough to pop the Shadow Dance, immediately return to the Bushwhack coming in from Crit. Top lane, Arena was dropped here. So they made an attempt, but weren't quite able to pull it off this time. RTZ remains safe. He'll be able to continue to farm underneath the tier 1 top, underneath the tier 1 bottom. Trying to dive in past the tower. They know that K1's got no ultimate. He's already used the Shadow Dance. Further TP's coming in to try and pass away, but Crit able to time it perfectly with the Bushwhack. Pulls him back. They take down K1. Loose flying return. We'll see the rest of EG can get out. In fact, they might not want to get out because backups arrived. Abed, he's also ready to dive underneath the tier 1 tower, but indeed he's hit the 6. They tie with a stun. Gojira, they just able to tell with the kisses. Takedown. Abed, takedown Crit. It started off as a smooth move from EG to try and pressure in, take down K1 whilst he didn't have the Shadow Dance, but then they tried to go for more, and that was not the move that they were going to get away with against Beast Coast there. A perfect time to hit the 6. Beast Coast turn it around, and Abed, he's going to wish he didn't come down here at all.
Oh yeah, a beautiful latch from Crit here to start it all off, getting him in mid-pounce. But yeah, I don't think they expected so many rotations coming. I don't know if they expected the Snap to be that 6 either. And yeah, Whisper just used ult top, so maybe they thought he wouldn't come here either. Beautiful moves. This Snapfire really kicking it this early game. 3-0-3, 6 of the 7 kills.
Yeah, I mean, just excellent setup there as well from Gojira, using the cookie for Whisper, getting him on top of Abed, and then with that opening stun, easily able to find time to get the follow-up spear. It just locked down Abed for the whole ult that was coming in.
And the crazy thing is, too, look at the tower HP in that bottom safe lane. After we see the Ember perhaps getting gone on a little bit.
We'll see if they can get it. They might. They've got
might be able to.
Again, the 3 stuns are there.
Just fun.
Abed a couple of times now, back-to-back in this area of the map. It's not been a great place for him to be.
No, and then we do see the tower. It is 100% HP. It has not been touched. This is a Brood lane. Near 12 minutes, that dive not working out at all.
See around the mid. Chris ready to set up more, gets the toss back. onto Fly, and of course backup, it's there. It always is here from Beast Coast. The three of them take down another. Fly falls. We'll see Arteezy turning up to the mid. This is quite an aggressive fight for the Terrapins to be involved in. I don't know if Arteezy wants to be in. The arena's there. What's going on, Fogged? From Arbed, dying 2 times down on the bottom. Arteezy suddenly turns up to a very premature fight in the mid. 12 minutes in, he's stepping up to the mid-high ground. You can't do that against Beast Coast.
He just had popped his meta too. Wanted to try to come in just for a quick kill onto a core, but Beast Coast, they're too fast around the map. EG's got to give more respect to these movements.
Absolutely.
Dire's top tower.
This is devastating. Look at Nightfall even too, maybe.
We've just seen it happen to Arbed. We've just seen it happen to Arteezy, and we've just seen it happen to Nightfall. EG losing course left, right, center here.
It's 12-2. I mean, this is looking just like Thunder, really, the way that the aggression is coming out so early.
Even rougher, I think, in this early game.
Absolutely. K1 even looking to top.
Won't be able to do too much on his own.
To steal some Agi. But he's got the Diffusal Blade finished up, so that's also another scare. The fact that Beast Coast can even start involving the Slark in every single one of these fights. Arteezy can't come back to show up for quite some time.
We'll get a quick pick on to Stinger here. Over on Beast Coast's side of the map. Definitely feels like, still at the start, EG, whilst they were sort of losing in terms of kills, they were getting the farm. They've got to be careful not to sacrifice the space that they've been able to maintain on their half of the map, but for going for these aggressive plays and losing these huge kills.
Yeah, it's devastating. They're trying to look for K1, perhaps Secret trying to, but no. He gets in the tree lines.
Tower is under attack.
And this is looking like a very good start here for Beast Coast, of course. Almost a blink even on the Mars, so the distancing for TB, like usually the way he wants to play in back lines and hiding in the jungle, pretty much farming for most of the game, it's gonna be a lot harder now with Whisper having this type of start. Blink at 13 minutes in your offlaner.
Quick setup in the mid, Chris.
Oh boy.
Arbed will be fine. He's got remnants to play with, but taking a heavy bit of damage.
Only, I think, misses one of those globs. A super farm Snapfire.
Dire's top tower.
Power in 9 seconds. Beast Coast, they'll want to make sure that Arbed doesn't get a hold of that.
They have the blink on Chris as well, too.
And the rune, and it's going bottom. Arbed able to grab it inside.
Chris is out of mana. Trying to chase.
Kind of hard to chase though between these two. Yeah, further TPs are coming in. He'll latch on with the searing chains, but Arbed knows that he's got to be careful. Whisper turns up.
Arbed might still be in trouble.
I mean, he is indeed. The remnants, it was laid down in a bit of an awkward spot. And of course, no struggle at all there for Chris to make sure he's there ready and waiting. And Arbed dead again.
And, I mean, they did not have the damage at all to try to go for the time. They had the Sven and the Ember, no Flame Guard. That was...
And the kills, they're just going to keep rolling in, by the way.
Oh,
Beast Coast,
man.
they find Fly out alone. It's 15-3 here, 14 minutes in. Beast Coast, there's just no slowing them down here.
They're oppressive on every single one of the lanes. Anytime somebody shows on EG, they get cleared out. Oh, look, some spiders as well, too. Whisper says, thank you. Level 11 already on this Mars. Anytime anyone shows, it feels like they can die now because of these double blinks that are set up, and from these over-leveled supports, they're always going to be able to get the catch on EG.
That's some terrifying stuff here from Beast Coast so far.
How does EG really get things together now, right? Like, who do they really want to rally behind? It feels like it's going to have to be like when the pipe comes out for Nightfall, which he does have now, so let's see what they can do with it.
They're going to try and get something going here off the back of a smoke.
Feels difficult still.
But Chris here around the mid. TPs are going to come in. See if they can take down the Tiny. Stinger at the side, able to lay down the O. EG there attempting to reach in to take down Chris, but Chris, he's out and he's alive. He's going to be fine. K1 charging in the front of the fight. He's in with the pounce on top of Arteezy. Avalanche as well onto the forward. Arteezy will be able to get the Sunder up onto Fly. Arteezy back up to full HP. Arbed out of the fight. The arena's down. Spear will miss. So they won't be able to hold Arteezy in position. Arteezy's going to be fine for now. Now turns towards K1. Pounce back to the ready. Chris, he's in with the jump though. They've got the combo. The follow kisses Arteezy melting to the damage of the Snapfire. Gajira takes him down. So Arbed, is there more for him to find? He's going to try and keep the fight going, Arbed. Jumps over towards Chris. Chains and the further remnants, but the Avalanche is back up. Chris will still die. Get a kill and return, EG. Anything more for them to find? K1 Stinger and Gajira, they're ready to continue this fight as well here. 4 versus 4. They want to keep the action going. They get the Bushwhack set up. Onto Stinger, stun. Into the angle of Crit Soul. EG find another. Whew.
I mean, they're pretty durable. You're definitely seeing that pipe coming into play. This 30 HP regen Broodmother just never getting low.
Two-man cookie.
Let's
Into
see.
the blast, but
No.
no further ability to send them back under the tower quite yet. So EG, they may lose RTZ in the fight, but they do take down 2.
Yeah. It started, I mean, it looked almost kind of disastrous at the start, but I think the Sleight of Fist actually canceled Whisper's Blink Dagger, and then he had like a little bit of an awkward jump with his ulti spear. That's why it ended up missing. But he's still going to keep going for these plays too.
Yeah, EG, they're trying to play the momentum that they were able to start get going a little bit around that mid fight. Do end up losing crit bottom.
It does feel like EG is actually more cooldown reliant. Even though they're playing into a team that has like Mars ult and the CM ult, it does feel like EG has to be pretty careful if they want to, because it feels like they have to invive RTZ when they go for these type of pushes, and he needs to have meta available. So it does feel like they have to play pretty slow on the side of EG versus BEASTCOAST, which is scary, because BEASTCOAST is not going to play slow at all. They're going to just constantly look to hunt. It's going to continue to accelerate too, because K1, he's got a couple components finished already of that Aghanims. 3 pieces done. That's going to make it even easier for him to just stick onto that back line, get onto RTZ. Absolutely,
and to be able to kite him out. Things get dangerous when the meta's up.
Okay, Whisper opts to go for his shard early on since he's playing versus that TB. Tends to be one of the most valuable options when you're playing versus illusion cores. And he's very far. Doesn't hurt him too much to go for that this game.
See BEASTCOAST ready to set up around the mid. Let's see if they can get the combo up onto our bed. Here we're going to try with a slight error and immediate reaction. They still find the avalanche toss combo, but that quick little dodge at the beginning, meaning that their full lockdown couldn't quite be there from BEASTCOAST. Arbet will be fine. I mean, Kaju's going to go with the kisses. Whisper tries the arena, but won't manage to get the catch. This time, EG able to dodge the combo. Still to the side, though. Fly will be finished off. EG, they try and attempt to fight with the arena being missed. Arbet, Remnant at the ready, will be able to dodge out of the range of the Crystal Maiden ultimate. EG, they'll keep that distance for now. Arteezy looking for an opportunity to step back in on this, but BEASTCOAST, they're out with the retreat. They pop the smoke and keep their distance.
That's a fresh meta. He just popped it. This could be dangerous position here still for RTZ. He could still just get popped. He has the pipe aura around him. He's gonna need that near him. But all this time, meta is just ticking down. Not getting any farm, not getting any pressure either. It's tier 1 still standing. All tier 1s on the side of BEASTCOAST standing.
Saw a quick move there from Chris and Whisper down towards the bottom. Maybe seeing if they could catch out whoever turned up to clean up this bottom lane. It is Arbed.
Not the spear just yet. They definitely have enough damage to control. The max frostbite is at the ready.
Yeah, if Arbed shows again, that could be BEASTCOAST key to go. And here we have it. Chris is in. A large toss. Spearback TPs are coming in, but it's not going to be soon enough to save him. Arbed taken out by the combo once again from BEASTCOAST.
It looked like he kind of maybe saw them, maybe thought he was going to be tanking up, but not. Way too much damage, way too much control that BEASTCOAST does to have down here. Again, just continuing to make all these beautiful plays. And I think that is going to be, yeah, the axe is going to be done now for K1 for Hector. It's having a phenomenal game, and they continue to shut down Abed. 0, 4, and 3 on this Ember Spirit.
Under attack.
See what sort of a defense EG can put together around these tier 1 towers. Now the BEASTCOAST are amping up the pressure on these lanes.
I mean, it's pretty astonishing, right? The team that has the TB and the Brood are the ones that haven't been able to take a tier 1, and they've actually lost pretty much all 3 of theirs in a second here. BEASTCOAST just really bringing that early action these first 20 minutes. Not really giving any opportunities for that Brood. As we mentioned, as Bobo was talking about it, they've gotten this Brood a lot of the times, but BEASTCOAST, they answered it pretty much with at least 4 or 5 of the picks in their draft, and so far you're seeing it work pretty damn nice.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we saw obviously the other day in the series that EG played, right? Both games, they were able to get their hands on this SF that they've been winning through the group stages throughout, and it was clearly something that Thunder Awakened had planned for. You've got to ask yourself, with the Brood being let through this game, it's probably something that BEASTCOAST had a pretty good idea of how to deal with, and so far it looks pretty good. Top lane, Whisper and Chris continuing to just pick up these kills wherever they go. I mean, as long as BEASTCOAST pretty much have a combination of any 2 of these heroes, they've got excellent kill potential.
Damage and control more than necessary. Whisper continues to have this crazy game. He's top net worth still, somehow, on this off-lane Mars, 8, 1, and 7. I think it's something we've gotten used to, of course, with Whisper in some of his games where he just totally pops off, but this is ridiculous.
EG finally able to get some pressure onto the tier 1 themselves bottom. This tier 1 should be gone. No interest here from BEASTCOAST to do anything about that one. I've seen K1 get into the triangle.
He's got RTZ at 0 mana, so they know that RTZ can't fight now for the next few moments. They might look to pressure even harder. Or they might even just look for him.
Tower is under attack.
As the full BKB right now here, RTZ, so we'll feel a little safer in the team fights as long as he's able to get it off before that first jump.
They might just walk in triangle though, right? Because yeah, Terrorblade, no mana. They know he can't fight. They're going to just try to claim this area, maybe get some vision in the area too. Everyone very afraid. They're like, let's rally around the pipe. Everyone stand near Nightfall. Make sure that we're okay versus the burst damage.
EG, see they're thinking about trying to set things up onto Whisper, but not an easy hero to go for at all.
And he's got a BKB coming out of the courier right now, so even if they try for it the next time, they might just get fully surprised and turned on. Like, he's just so farmed on this Mars. 209 last hits.
Smoke up from EG. Want to try and take this fight already. The Whisper's in. He's able to get the combo there. The two-man spear onto RTZ. The Avalanche forward.
Oh my
As
God.
RTZ and Crit caught out by Whisper. EG, is there anything they can find in return? They're trying to go for Stinger. They won't be able to take out the CM. K1 on the backline. He's gone straight for Fly. Another spear pushing back Arbed and Nightfall. Arbed did have a remnant at the ready to get out, but Fly won't escape. Lever will Nightfall. And Avalanche from Chris puts a stop to his TP out. There's 4 dead on EG. They're trying to get out and look for these fights. But Beast Coast, they're just prepared for them every single time. And this is, of course, the problem with how good Beast Coast is at jumping EG. RTZ just doesn't have the chance to get his BKB off. Look at this jump, Whisper.
Perfect chain stuns every single time, and they all are just following up each other perfectly, right? Chris comes out of nowhere and just cleans it up. That's just amazing, really, from Beast Coast every time. More than prepared for every single fight. Now they get a Roche.
That's so smooth here from them. The kills are 24/7.
Look at Gojira, right? I mean, for me, his early game has been absolutely ridiculous. Him and Whisper, 7-0 and 13 on this Snapfire. He's kind of set that whole tempo from that bottom fight with the kisses.
Feels good to be this good.
They're really crushing this game right now. EG. And we said, you know, maybe that pipe was going to be something they could perhaps try to rally around. Has not been the case. I don't know what the next time is. Yeah.
They fight through it. You know, sure that the magical's getting reduced a bit, but they've still got a heavy bit of physical, a big old punch, of course, coming out from the Mars, the Tiny, the Slug, after the stats build up with the Essence shift. A lot of things that EG have to be very, very scared of if Beast Coast are the ones starting the fight.
Yeah, it's like they have this Sven who's got this war cry for RTZ, but RTZ's like, I don't need armor. I need to just survive. I need more HP and some type of more magic resist, but they've got really all they can do for him. And Beast Coast just keeps getting onto him. Whisper, every single one.
So for EG now, they did try and smoke out, look for a fight with the BKB on RTZ. Now that there's an Aegis on K1, do you just have to hold back on that plan, wait for the 4 minutes to pass, or do you still have to take that risk, try and make that move?
I don't know. I don't know what they can really do. The pressure is so immense, really, from how ahead all 3 of these cars are. Who can they really burst down? It's got to be like some type of support. So pretty difficult at the moment. East Coast just really controlling the map perfectly. I don't think you could ask for a more crisp 24 minutes.
Nice big kill after kill after kill.
Kill a minute, right?
It really has been, yeah.
And it's on the, it's not like it's on the supports every single time. Sure, Fly, you know, he's got 8 deaths. He's got a lot because he's had the soak for the TV, but look, the deaths on the course too, right? 0-3 on RTZ, 0-4 Abed, 3 kills on Nightfall. It's been great pressure on every single one of those cores from Beast.
I mean, what would you sort of consider the next potential chance or sort of item that the EG, one of their cores, is going to be able to pick up, could give them a better shot at being able to take these team fights? What are they looking towards next as the next sort of power spike that they'll be able to get towards against this pressure of Beast Coast?
I mean, it's the BKBs that are going to come out for both of the cores. The Ember probably needs one too, but the problem is that they're playing into the double BKB already. Actually, the triple BKB that's going to be coming out from the cores of Beast Coast, so it's just not an easy thing to do at all.
Crit. Chased down by Whisper. And this bottom lane, tier 2 in trouble. Not something that EG is going to be able to do too much about right now. They've just got to stay away from Beast Coast. Scramble towards these next items on their cores.
Yeah.
And not prepared to fight.
It's like they have to avoid fights, and even when these situations get into the point where they have to take a fight, I don't know how they're going to really do it. They're going to have some complete miracle where the Terrorblade's able to sit in the back and just wail on targets, but even then, they're so durable. These cores are just so tanky on the side of Beast Coast, and they're not easy to hit either. You know, that Slark,
They're slippery.
has so many different ways to just reset in and out of the fight, and he doesn't even have Shard yet, so that's going to make it so even everyone else is going to be a lot slipperier too for RTZ to stick onto.
Full force back with TP. Just from Crit though, the rest of EG able to continue to stay out on the map at least. Still being able to farm despite Beast Coast being as close as they are to EG's base right now. And swing over towards the mid. Beast Coast look to push towards another tier 2. Again, attempting to force EG back into a defensive position.
I think we're going to see BEASTCOAST start to be very, like, much more aggressive in a few moments. Stinger.
Trying to go for him here. He's able to put the Ghost Step to get a bit of the ultimate off. RTZ will manage to put the BKB in with the meta. They're able to take down Stinger.
He has to run, though. With the BKB, he just has to book it. A meta BKB to run.
Is under attack.
That says everything about the current game state.
A Whisper now godlike on the Mars.
He almost, I mean, he's on his way to his refresher. He's pretty close to having it already.
Radiant's top
That
tower
is,
is under
I mean, that's
attack.
definitely the most farm Mars I think I've ever seen. 14k net worth at 26 minutes.
That's insane.
This is crazy. Level 18 as well.
Dire's courier has been
Immediately kill the courier too. Nightfall.
Oh, smile. Chris Luck here. ED in the bottle, ready for the next jump.
He's got the Echo finished back up to it, disassembling it for BKB.
That's a huge amount of burst between the magical and physical. If he jumps any target there, they're probably gone. Maybe Arteezy survives through it.
And
But even that, he's going to be left solo after Chris is in and done with it.
the thing is too, they can jump pretty recklessly on all three cores because they can probably just BKB reset out of the fight right afterwards.
is under attack.
CG now kind of having to watch their T2 just drop while RTZ tries to farm some farm, but yeah, BKB on cooldown, meta on cooldown. The whole map is BEASTCOAST's. I mean, even if he had those, the map is still pretty much there.
K1. He knows now with his Zags, and of course with a minute left on the Aegis, he can start to tease around with EG right underneath their tier 4s.
Look how spooked they are. He forces the Wraith Pact. Like, that's how scared Nightfall is, even though he's at his tier 3. And we mentioned earlier, of course, that Wraith Pact, it's going to get cleared every fight from the little Shredder.
The setup on a Chris, good full stop there to get Chris out of the combo, away for the sharpshooter.
Early kiss is being thrown. Bit of a whiff.
Chris is falling a little low, he's holding on to the BKB. And I bet he's thinking about committing towards some Chris there, but won't jump forward. In fact, it's K1 that's going to be the one jumping on him, and now there's been follow-up. They'll be able to keep him locked down.
Oh, he didn't jump. He continued fighting inside. The Pounce waited and waited. Didn't want to jump away. Didn't expect Whisper.
Of course, but just before this fight, just so close to the BKB on the Ember, about a couple of hundred gold he was away, Abed, but didn't have it for this fight. And now, beyond the racks, BEASTCOAST, they're ready to just continue diving in. Arteezy's TP'd over, but he's low on mana.
He has to just BKB to walk away.
He has, he's TP'd in, it's a BKB and a move back to the base. So he'll heal up, but even when he's done, he won't be able to present himself here towards this barracks defense. And BEASTCOAST, they'll push on, force out the fortification.
I mean, they probably click on Whisper and they're like, oh god, he has another full round of everything because he has this refresher. We can't take the fight, and no BKB. Rax is going to drop. AG can do nothing but watch.
Dire's bottom barracks is falling.
Straight over towards the mid. They may have lost the Aegis, BEASTCOAST, but I don't think they're going to feel they need to back up anytime soon.
He still has 72 agi, so wanted to get a little bit of poke. Now they'll reset the lanes.
Okay,
in a good position.
They will. Give a little bit of respect to EG. I mean, they're happy to sort of play this one out.
They also just got like 2,000 gold on every single hero, right? Like everyone just got a full item injection.
Sure.
Like, they're gonna pick those up, wait for the next fight, clean up the area of the top side, get that tower, and just wait for EG to walk kind of into them because they can just take any fight on BEASTCOAST here.
A lot of money on Gojira as well. Looks like he's going to be picking up the Lotus here for the team. Bash has just been grabbed up by K1. Hector.
They're so farmed. This Snapfire is getting close to being at the same levels of the Ember and the Brutes. Yeah, he's got Lotus stun, so tons of different ways to protect his teammates. Great spells to either dispel.
Anybody can go in.
Yeah, amazing things to reflect, protect versus Sunder. I mean, this is a godly Lotus game.
I mean, that's the thing as well. Now, BEASTCOAST, as we've seen so far this game, they're the kind of team that will go in without these items, you know? So now that they've got them, they're going to be stepping it up to the max in terms of how aggressive and sort of, you know, they'll look to move in and dive wherever they want to go.
And look at this hero damage, right? Like we were mentioning Gojira a lot this game, and you see why when we bring that up. 14.4k.
I mean, he's at 8-0-14 here. The man hasn't died this game.
They banned, you know, and they first phase banned his clockwork too, and he got his Snapfire. He's totally popping off.
He's definitely making quite the case here for maybe that snap being more of a priority.
Dire's
AG,
top tower
all right, they've
is under
grouped up.
attack.
Arteezy was able to finish his next time. He's picked up the Silver Edge.
All right, I mean, we'll see what it's going to be able to do. Do they even have the damage to go through any of these cores? Will they kill any of them? That's the question.
We're talking about Gojira. He's been quite the problem. So getting rid of him at the start of the fight, not a bad move here for EG. See if they can get more. BEASTCOAST very quick to drop down the arena now. K1, he's able to jump over towards Abed. Abed has got the BKB done for this fight, but there is a cost to bash on K1, so Abed's got to be careful how close he keeps the slot. K1 turns over towards Nightfall. Nightfall able to get down to the low ground. Whisper will deal with Flyer. God's Rebuke to take him down. K1 jumps forward. He's looking to hunt down the Spider. Nightfall attempting to juke around the trees, and buyback comes out from Fly. EG. Another BKB for Chris is about to come to an end. Arteezy attempting to close the gap on him.
They want to get one of these cores so bad.
I mean, Chris is getting pretty low down with the Avalanche, but Arteezy is able to finish him off. Stinger Whisper as well, looks to be in trouble, pops the Ghost Scepter, they'll block him up, Arteezy will claim another double kill for Artur.
All right, seems like the plan is get on top of the Snapfire, remove Gojira from
Not
the
a bad
fight.
plan. Not a bad plan at all, as we saw there. They only had to commit one buyback there, EG. Flight getting back in on the action.
I mean, it's the first time EG's gotten anything going their way this game,
Absolutely.
so they need any type of momentum. It's still a long ways and still needs, I mean, quite a lot more of those, but at least they finally do get a kill onto that core.
As you say, a different approach to the fight, one that we haven't seen from them, or at least them be able to do so far this game. Getting Gojira, killing him for the first time this game, and did end up giving that bit of an opening that, I mean, as we saw in the damage numbers, once you sort of remove the highest DPS hero from the team, things are probably going to go a little bit better for you in these team fights.
Yeah. Yeah, they were able to get a good wraparound and just good connection because the Mars ult also didn't connect perfectly. And
Under attack.
saw Slark a bit low mana. They all just were a bit awkward about going for a full commitment on the fight on Beast Coast. EG still needs quite a lot more of those. Even though you see TB, he's getting close to that Mars net worth. He's actually ahead of the Slark now. As we said, there's still a lot of things that get on him. Still a tough game for him to carry.
Let's have a look. I see sort of how Beast Coast come back out onto the map after suffering that last bit of a rough team fight, the roughest they've had. They are pretty much the only rough one they have had this game. Of course, they're straight back over onto EG's half of the map. They know that they still have this lead 13k advantage, 30-11.
DD rune bottom, and Roche is about to spawn 2 seconds. The spider's constantly being sent across the map to kind of scout it out.
Sure.
See if Beast Coast goes and checks it themselves. Chris is hunting, though. He's still smoked up with that DD, and he has that small crit. It bursts most heroes. They're probably going to go back and check that Roche in a few seconds since they have all these wards set up. They have all the lanes in good position. Chris still kind of looking for something, but he's just going to catch the next wave. And yeah, now it's scouted.
Gee, they've hit the timing here with the smoke themselves. They'll try and get over.
See what they can
towards
do.
this area, knowing that potential is there for Roshan to be back up.
So many eyes early on Arteezy. If he can actually just stay alive in the fights,
he does a fair bit of damage. Crit with the jump. I mean, it's not a bad jump again. They found Gojira to start the fight. They're in onto the Snapfire and taking him down. K1 turns over the wall. Crit trying to get away. The bounces in. Whisper goes in with the arena, but the BKBs are out from EG. See Abed look to chase down Stinger. Stinger will die before the TP is successful. The BKBs from both sides about to come to an end. So he's able to continue on further.
I mean,
without the BKBs, I mean, it looks to be
they're
EG.
going in themselves now.
See, having the meta still going, they feel they're stronger around the pit. They were able to eliminate the two supports.
Whisper still has another round of ult. Kind of refresh. He does get seen. The illusion's on him.
Preston for the jump. 3-man avalanche dead. The arena will be able to look down Abed with the spin. And taking out the Ember. Abed does have a buyback available if he wants to commit towards this Roshan fight. And Nightbot trying to escape the arena, but he's trapped in. Takedown by the God's Rebuke. Whisper right in return. He'll immediately buy back to get over towards the Roshan once again. But Roshan is falling fast into EG. Chris, he's in with the jump. Arteezy's pretty low at the top. There, the line of the spear. Arteezy goes down. As EG, they attempted to finish off the Roshan, but they didn't respect the buyback there from Whisper and the ability for Beast Coast to jump into the pit once more.
So many ways, as we mentioned from earlier, it's just tons of ways for them to jump in and out of these fights as K1. What a pounce, gets the catch. They're able to reset, right? Even though they lost Gojira, didn't have the buyback, Beast Coast is able to reset in and out of the fights a few times, and they do get that catch. They get it onto Abed, and then Chris gets the perfect toss-up onto Arteezy.
And the excellent calls here continue from Beast Coast in terms of the moves that they made. You saw no hesitation from Whisper with that buyback.
Yep. A pretty admirable fight, though, for being 14,000 gold behind from EG. Finding a pretty decent chunk of kills, but now they're going to lose some pretty massive objective damage, maybe even losing all of the racks here.
I mean, it's going to go down pretty fast here to the right, clicks. Oh, Chris on the tiny.
And K1, he still has some stacks, too, so top. They've got one more glyph. He's respawning, but no matter when he's up 30 seconds.
And they may only have one more fight as well, EG. They're going to have to pull everything together here for this last stand against Beast Coast. It's Beast Coast.
They'll give the respect. They'll back it up.
Further big items being picked up. AC's complete here for Chris.
Yeah, they're like, we don't need to really fully rush it here. Pick up these items. Still have Aegis for a few minutes. Almost a Hex finished up also on Whisper, so. EG looking to maybe take advantage of the fact that Beast Coast might be kind of chilling back here. Maybe they can catch something big.
Moves they do make at this point, they seem risky, but they have to take these risks, CG.
They're
It's the
sending
only way they get back into the game.
Yeah, they're sending the spiders to scout all over. We're seeing them from Nightfall up top lane, so they're trying to find somebody bottom side. And look who it is again.
It's Gojira. He's able to get the force stuff off in time to break away from the bushwhack, but still RTZ chases him out. Further force and a jump with the cookie will dodge the sharpshooter, so Gojira this time will live.
And now EG's gonna run.
They certainly have it. The Snapfire's alive. Things are probably going to go rather bad for EG. As Fly goes down, RTZ holding on to his BKB for now.
You know where he is, though. Whisper, he
I
gets
guess BKB is there from RTZ, and immediate response. The bashes are there from K1. The RTZ needs help, but he needs it now. The bash is there. The silence as well. RTZ goes down. No buyback available for him as Beast Coast. They're ready to go for more. Abed able to BKB TP out. But EG, they've got to try and hold here with just the three of them against the full 5-man push from Beast Coast. No RTZ for nearly a minute.
Dire's top
that's
barracks
mega
are
creeps
under
for sure.
attack.
RTZ stepped up,
Dire's top
got speared. I know this was fight that they tried to get a catch onto the snap, and they just get fully surrounded.
The 2 times they've managed to come out top was when they've been able to catch Gojira. Outside that they couldn't, and indeed they'll tap out. There's no coming back from this position. GG is called. Beast Coast here in game 1, looking as hot as ever really here against EG. A couple outside of the 2 rough fights, it was pretty much perfection from
really
Beast
was.
Coast from start to end.
Yeah, I mean, I have to give so much credit really to this top lane, right?
Yep.
The Mars and the Snapfire, they really set the tempo for this game. I mean, Chris Luck too, of course all of them had their parts in it, but that top lane for me, they were doing everything. They were making moves around the map, they're setting up the kills. Whisper somehow top net worth majority of the game. That was quite a performance really from Beast Coast. They just constantly shut them down, and it was all 3 cores, right? Like we mentioned, it wasn't like they're getting all these kills on the supports, they're getting the kills on the big